This is Jack Bolton. He is the IT specialist, technical support for Hopkins Elementary School. I'm interviewing him on emerging technologies, the removal of the overhead projector, and the replacement of the document camera. Jack, has Hopkins always used overhead projectors?
I wasn't here when the school opened, but in the mid-'80s, the overhead projector was part of the basic equipment list for a classroom. So all classrooms were equipped with overhead projectors when the school was opened.
And how did the decision to change from overhead to projectors to the document camera come about?
Because of the advantages of the document camera over the overhead projector, here at Hopkins we were able to make the purchase of the document camera with our title funds. So, but what really prompted it was our retrofit or our technology refresh in 2009, where each classroom was equipped with a ceiling-mounted LCD projector. And of course, the document camera plays with the LCD projector, and it gives you much more versatility over the overhead projector, which is limited generally to displaying transparencies, and it's difficult to show books and that sort of thing with overhead projector. And you can't, it's difficult to annotate or make markings on a book that you might not want to mark up with the overhead projector, whereas with the document camera, you can do those annotations on the displayed image and not affect the original image.
Okay. Were there a lot of problems with the overhead projector? Did you foresee burned out bulbs?
They did have burned out bulbs. Of course, our ceiling mounted projectors have a fixed lifespan on those bulbs also. So there'll be comparable problems or replacement. But the main thing was just with the overhead projectors was the size. They were bulky. They tended to take up the focal point of the classroom. Mm-hmm. And could obstruct the teacher or obstruct the whiteboard. So the document camera it doesn't solve a whole lot of problems that were there with the overhead projector. It just provides so much more versatility for what you can do over the overhead projector.
And storage space with the overhead projector was more complicated than
right. It was big. You had to have it typically on a media cart that when you weren't using it, you had to find a place to store it in the classroom, and some classrooms just didn't have that space. The document cameras are small. There's a variety of different sizes, and typically they can just be set out of the way very easily when they're not needed.
When you replaced the overhead projector, do you remember how long it took to take the overhead projectors out and bring the Elmo or document cameras in?
Well, the big change there are the replacing or getting the overhead projectors out. That was fairly easily just rolling them out and finding a place to store them until we could dispose of them back to the county to come pick them up. But the big thing that took some time was installing the ceiling-mounted LCD projectors, which was required for the document cameras to be effective in each classroom. And that took about a month. So we did that over a summer in 2009.
So the overhead projectors were stored in the school, and then the county picked them up and
picked up the ones. I mean, we didn't get rid of them all. We still have some. There's some overhead projectors still in classrooms. Some teachers still opt to use them on some occasion, and especially since we did not initially have enough enough document cameras for the classroom. So the overhead projectors still, some of them remain in the classroom and still used. We mainly just got rid of some of the overhead projectors that were broken, or the older ones, which was another problem with the overhead projectors, was the display glass tended to get broken easily, so we don't have that problem as much with the document cameras.
Okay, and do you see in the future us getting more document cameras? You said teachers had to share them.
Right.
There wasn't enough for
Right.
each teacher.
Yeah, and we've already have them. We received just this past month 40 additional cameras, which will give us enough document cameras to have one in every grade level classroom.
Oh, that is wonderful. Can you tell me the advantages you've told me some advantages of the document camera over the overhead projector? We talked about the size.
Well,
that is one
the big advantage is what you can display, the materials or the range of materials you can display with a document camera versus what you can display with an overhead projector. With the document camera, you can display books, worksheets, newspaper, color prints, anything that's on a piece of paper you can display on a document camera, as well as some of our cameras that have a microscope attachment on it. You can hook it to a microscope and display the microscope on the whiteboard or projector screen. Objects, 3D objects you can show, which the overhead projector tended just to show flat objects.
Yeah, and I read somewhere where the 3D objects that are shown on the Elmo are actually shown in 2D.
Right. Well, it's when anything that's projected on a screen is actually 2D. But the fact that you can on a overhead projector, because it's displaying or through the image that you're projecting, you don't get any sense of the depth of what's on the being shown, whereas a 3D object being shown through the document camera does show you some depth.
Yes, okay. Have there been any problems with the document camera?
Not many. There is a slight learning curve to it, but basically it's teachers have been able to take it right out of the box and start finding it useful, but there's some advanced functionality to it that as they experiment with and have time to learn things they can do with it, even beyond what you could do with overhead projector. So I wouldn't say there are problems. They're just, as any new technology, there's can be a learning process to using the technology.
Do you see in the future that the document cameras will be replaced by anything else?
I don't think they'll be replaced not in the near future. I think we'll just see them integrated into the classroom better, whereas now it's kind of an add-on to the classroom in our situation. In new classrooms that are being built in Gwinnett now, the document camera, the ceiling mounted projector are all standard equipment lists now, and sometimes they're integrated with the classroom much better and work seamlessly, whereas in our classrooms we have to physically plug in projectors to the camera, whereas in the future everything will already be connected. You just turn on with a switch and select through a remote whether you want to display the computer screen or a document camera or a video DVD or something like that.
Where do you see technology in the future at Hopkins?
I see we'll keep adding and enhancing what we have. have a limited number now of Mimeos, which allow us to make a standard whiteboard act like a interactive whiteboard. And probably the next step would be adding student response system to that, so that students could actually have some input and control over that interactive whiteboard in terms of answering questions or doing surveys and things like that. So just enhancing what we have.
Thank you very much.
That's it?
That's it.
Good.
Hi, we're interviewing Evelyn Takati, who was a second grade teacher, is now a kindergarten teacher at Hopkins Elementary. We're doing an interview because she's an end user of the Elmo document camera and the Mimeo overhead projector. Evelyn, how long have you used the overhead projector?
I used the overhead projector since I started here, which is about 6 years ago. I used it till, I think, 3 years ago.
3 years ago? And the overhead projector was replaced by the Elmo document camera. Have you heard anything about the document camera prior to receiving it?
Yes, well, I knew about the document reader or overhead to replace the overhead projector in college, because I used it and I thought that what a neat technology it was to use, and it'd be great to have it in the classroom. And then we heard that we're getting these new equipments to use in our classroom, and of course I was the first then that wanted one.
Oh, of course. Now, some teachers had the option to keep the overhead projector or turn it in. Which one did you decide to do?
I turned the overhead projector in for the document reader.
Okay. And did you receive any formal training on the Elmo document camera?
No, not really.
Goodness. How easy was it for you to use?
It was very easy. It was very easy. You just plug in some cords and turn it on and put your documents right on it.
And how do you utilize it? What curriculum subjects, core subjects do you use it for?
You could use it for a lot of things. I use it for morning work when they first arrive. I also use it for word study. You could also use it for reading, because you just play the books up on the document and it will show up on the whiteboard, where you could enlarge it so the children could, or the students could read along with you. I use it for science. I could use it for math, demonstrating math manipulatives. I also use it at the end of the day where they write in their agendas. So I use it a lot.
So you use it all during the day?
All during the day.
Have you ever had any problems with the document camera?
No, not really. No, not until the day that the map fell onto it and broke it and I cried.
What do you see as the benefits of the Elmo document camera over the overhead projector?
The document camera is a lot easier to use than the overhead because you have to use transparency in order to use the projector, the overhead projector, versus the document reader. You could use actually hard copy and put it right onto the underneath the camera, and it displays it automatically up on the board. So you could use books, you can use hard copy, and you can also still use transparency. And then too, when you use manipulatives, you can use the actual coin or object, and it'll show up on the board, versus the overhead projector, you had to use transparency ones.
Yes. A lot of teachers have said that they like the fact that it shows 3D objects in color and in 3D.
Exactly.
Versus
exactly.
a black blob on the screen.
Exactly.
How important is the use of technology in the classroom to you?
It's very important because it's helpful for the teachers. It makes it easier for teachers to teach. It also could be interactive where the students could use it because you could play it on the board. They could use the whiteboard markers and circle items on it. They also could play games and stuff like that too.
Okay. Where do you see technology in the future at Hopkins Elementary?
Oh, I see that we're going to be using technology a lot at Hopkins. It is going to be the thing to do.
Thank you so much for your time, Evelyn.
You're welcome.
This is Terry Howe, a first grade teacher at Hopkins Elementary. She's going to talk about the transition from using a overhead projector to using an Elmo document camera. Terry, how long have you used the overhead projector?
Well, I had used the overhead projector for approximately 20 years.
And how did you like that?
Well, it had some advantages and disadvantages. I liked it when I was going over documents with the students. However, sometimes we would want to do more detailed projects, and it was hard to see them when you put them on the overhead.
What uses did you have for the overhead projector?
I used it with language arts, a lot of grammar. The students would help me. They would come in and put it on. We would use it with grammar and writing activities as well as math activities, place value, and such.
Did you know anything about the Elmo document camera before you received it?
No, not really. When I received it, I got a little bit of training on how to use it.
Okay. Do you still use the overhead projector, or did you turn it in? Some teachers had the option to keep it, and some turned it in. Which did you do?
I turned mine in. Once I saw the Elmo, I knew it was what I wanted to use from now on.
And how much training did you get on the Elmo?
Well, I received a small amount of training from our technology department, and I also had assistance from the co-teacher that I was working with.
Okay. Was the Elmo document camera easy for you to use once you had the little training that you did?
Yes, it was very easy to use.
And how do you utilize the Elmo? What do you use the Elmo for?
Well, I use it for various activities, especially things that involve math, so the kids can see, like for example, if I'm teaching them a math game, it's easier to use the Elmo to show them exactly how to play the game so it can be projected up on the screen and they can see things like the dice, or they can see a spinner and how you would use it.
Have you ever had any problems with the Elmo?
No, they almost worked great.
And how often during the day do you use it?
Well, it depends on what unit I'm doing, but I would say that I use it at least 2 to 3 times a week.
And what are the benefits of the Elmo document camera over the overhead projector?
Well, there are so many benefits. The Elmo document camera makes projecting all types of objects clear and easy, whereas the overhead, a lot of things that you wanted to project would come out fuzzy or would come out in a grayish tint. It wouldn't be clear. You'd have to keep adjusting it up and down. The bulb would burn out. There was a lot of problems with the overhead projector.
How important is technology in the classroom to you?
It is very important. We use technology every day to help our students learn.
And what other forms of technology do you use besides the Elmo document camera?
Well, I use my computer quite often, and I have a connection that puts it onto a projector, a movie screen, and I use tumble books all the time. Last year we used tumble books every day. They're very interactive, and the quiz at the end let all the students participate. Also, I would use the computer to do things such as Steady Island or Success Maker or Mega Math, and all sorts of other activities.
Where do you see technology in the future for Hopkins Elementary?
Well, I see technology playing a greater and greater role in the students' lives every year. I know that this year we're going to be purchasing some Kindles, and the students are going to be using those for small reading groups. I think that's going to make a big difference in their reading comprehension and their enjoyment of language arts.
Thank you very much, Ms. Howe.
Thank you, Snow.